Good? Perfect. All right. So I was kind of thinking, before I came up here, I was kind of thinking, what's the hardest part about speaking? And like for me, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but I don't struggle with getting up in front of people and speaking to them face to face, but trying to get the thought across in the right words, I think is really the hardest part for me and probably for many others. Kind of a little backstory on this. I kind of first got burdened with it and started writing things down, actually on a Wednesday night service. I can't remember exactly what Brother Matt was talking about, but basically what the Lord has done in your life and how he can help you and save you and keep you through things. So in this kind of lesson and speech, I guess, I'm going to share kind of like my testimony of a part of my life, and I'm going to bring some kind of key points that I learned through a really hard time. I think I kind of shared this a little bit about a year ago when Brother Matt was having people coming up and give their testimonies about what the Lord has done in their lives and how they got saved. This occurred after I got saved, about 2 months. So since Mackenzie prayed already, I'll just get right into it. So in July 2019, I felt burdened to give my life to God. I knew I didn't have the Lord in my heart, and I just felt like, yeah, if I would die, I wouldn't go to heaven, plain and simple. And that was really my main thing. You know, I was young, I was 11 at the time, and just, yeah, I need that's the right thing to do, give my heart to the Lord. And after that, got saved on my mom and dad's bedside, and after that, it was great, and I had a new enthusiasm for the Lord. I tried to do my devotions every day, and for about 2 months, everything was great. Then came the month of September. I don't remember exactly the day, but I soon became aware of all the evil around me. Now, I say that. It wasn't evil, okay? So the devil began to work on me a lot. He began to show me certain things that could be sin, okay? Now I'm super conscientious, and then it's like he showed it like, oh, this over here could be sin. That over there could be sin, okay? Now you shouldn't look at that. Shouldn't do that. Don't do that, okay? And I was like, I'm young, or don't know much. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then, but at the same time, it's kind of dumb. I've been doing that my whole life long. But the devil, he can turn anything in your life, and show you a different side that you never thought about. And it seems right. He'll come as an angel of light. But I can tell you right now, it's not, okay? He's not. So I soon became extremely self-conscious about what I did. I'll never forget that first night when the devil really hit me full on. I don't remember. I did a couple things, and then I became confused. Was that a sin? Did I sin there? And this thought drove me insane, because the fear of going to hell is real. Because since I didn't know I sinned, I wasn't sure. Key point. I wasn't sure that I was going to heaven because of this quote-unquote sin that I had done. And I wrestled with this. And I was so worrisome, and like the anxiety was so hard, I shook all night long. Couldn't sleep, was sick to my stomach. And I mean, when I look back on it now, it's like, that was stupid. But when you're young in the Lord, when the devil's worked on you extremely hard, like, you don't really know. My dad was amazed at what I was dealing with at age 11. And for about a year, I really struggled on the question, was I going to heaven and did I sin? Because as you just said, the fear of going to hell is extremely real. Extremely real. Now, I never been in quote-unquote deep sin, but I was lost. But then when I gave my life to the Lord, I had that assurance, okay? Like, okay, I know if I die, I'm going to heaven. But when the devil strips that away, and you don't want to go to hell, the fear just really overcomes you, and it really did me. And about a week in, the devil began to convict me of certain things I had to do because they were sinful, okay? I mean, they're stupid, okay, but they're really weird. I felt compelled to sleep on my back. Sleep on, I couldn't look at the wall on my side. I couldn't do anything. Had to sleep on my back. The reasons were stupid. I'm not going to tell you, but also the devil made me think I had to look down constantly because for the fear I'd look up and see something wrong. So I would just look down the entire time. I'd walk around, sit. I would just look constantly. And I remember, like, I probably did that for about 2 months probably, looking down constantly because I was worried, because I was trying my best not to sin and not go to hell, but I was still struggling at the same time with all these questions. Did I sin there? Was that wrong? Should I do this? Should I do that? And it was just overwhelming. And it was so overwhelming that I really fell into depression at 11 years old because I was full of confusion. It was an extremely dark time, and I really felt like I was a million miles away from God because I would just talk to him, Lord, give me the wisdom on this, help me with this, but it never came. But it never came in my thought. Like, I was expecting this one thing, but God, he came at another angle and answered it. He won't answer the way you think he's going to answer. He's going to do it according to his will and actually what's best for you. It felt like I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. Like I didn't want to do anything. I would just want to sit in my room and I was bad because I would just dwell on every thought that came to my mind. And that's what really hindered me, because if I would just see, the Lord is not the author of confusion. Okay, we'll get to that, but if I had known that more, I would have been like, I'm not going to think about that because it's confusing. The Lord's not going to bring that to me if it's confusing, okay? He's going to give you something straight and simple, okay? But I was young and didn't know. And going through it, I saw there's no end in sight. I looked down so much, I really don't remember seeing the sky at all. And the devil began to take away my freedom. As I just said, I couldn't sleep on my back. I had to look down. I couldn't do anything. All the things I usually enjoy, like watching movies and videos, I couldn't do it for the fear I might see something sinful. And that's what he wants to do with all of us. He wants to take away our godly freedom. Brother Matt was talking about this morning. And one thing at a time, he was taking one aspect of my life and taking it away from me. And he was putting me in a box full of doubt, fear, confusion, and just the unknown. And that's what he wants to do to every one of us. He wants to put you in a box. He wants you to do nothing. And he wants to destroy you. Relief only came when I slept, but it was never very deep. I can remember going to bed and actually be sleeping. I could just feel just the anxiety over my body as I slept, even though I wasn't really conscious. Thoughts of giving up were on my mind a lot because, I can't really describe what the feeling I had. My dad, he can testify to this. I talk to him almost every evening, but all these questions I had, questions that an 11-year-old should never think of. They're crazy. And my dad, he was just like, man, this is crazy. I never heard of anything like this, and you're so young dealing with so many things that a 20-year-old he'd probably deal with. But at 11, I was dealing with it. And when I would talk with him in the worst times, I'd just be like, he would be like, you going to give up? You going to quit? Because this is what the devil was doing. He knows he can't get me through alcohol, drugs, all that quote-unquote deep sin. He knows he can get me through being a good Christian, okay? Giving you so many convictions, you can't keep them all. I was like, done. I can't be good enough, and I'm just going to quit. That's what he wants to do a lot of us Christians, because he knows you're not going to go to the street, go to the bar, and get involved with that. It's not a temptation for you. But he'll get you in a way that seems, oh, that's good, but it will destroy you. When I would see people, I just wanted so badly to switch places with them, because in those hard spots, I just look at them and think, they're not going through anything right now. They're walking straight, heads up, looking around. I'm just here, and just with this cloud over me, And even though I might have known they were sinners, I didn't really care. Because I just knew, I thought I knew, that they weren't dealing with anything. I thank God that my spirit didn't want that. The devil wanted me to submit to the thought that I would never make heaven. He wanted me to think that I can never get the victory, and that thought was constantly in my mind. But I knew God would never leave me. And though he seemed far away, I knew he was to me. Go through the Bible, I'd find like all the scriptures that told of his promise that he would help us and keep us. And I knew they were true. But when when you're right in the moment, you're just like, yeah, I know it's true, but man, I ain't seeing it. But it's there. He knows all the things that are to come and that are going on. And though things seem out of control, they've never been out of control. God has always had control, and he is in control. I thank God in those toughest times that I never gave up, because I tell you what, I was this close. Like, I never had the thoughts of suicide, but as I lay in those hard times, I would think, man, if I wasn't alive right now, I wouldn't be dealing with this. I wouldn't be struggling with this. I wouldn't be so down. I wouldn't have these thoughts, and then I wouldn't be dealing with it. But I thank God that he never let me go, that he had a stronger hold on me than the devil did, and he never gave up on me. Slowly but surely, the Lord brought me out of my storm. It wasn't just one step at a time. I began to take away my freedom, one thing, and the Lord began to show me that that's dumb, you don't need to do that no more. Yep, you're good on that. And I began to decipher what was right and wrong. And I began to kick sides of the box I was in. So, turning from that story, I want to share what I learned and hope that you can get some understanding on stuff. I learned how to trust God in the toughest times. I learned what trust really is. Trust is reliance and hope. Like, you need to fully rely on God to see his plan and to see his plan worked out in you. I learning how to accept what's happening, submitting to God's will is trust. And to trust on God's understanding is all about trust too. So I'm going to turn real quick, and turn to Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all your understandings in all ways. Acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. I'm sure you've all read this and gone to it many times, but I just want to bring it out onto your own understanding. You might think, this is what's happening to me. This is what I got to do. And this is the path I gotta take. That's your understanding, because you're probably stupid, okay, like this. And you need to trust what God has for you, because his way is always higher and better and all-knowing. Path. I also learned how to wait on the Lord. Let's go. 27:14. Psalms 27:14. Wait, I say, on the Lord. Now, waiting on the Lord, basically trust. The way I see it, it is trust in your Lord to fulfill, to bring the answers that you asked for, the answers that he will give you, though you might not think, oh, that's not my answer. But waiting on, I learned things on how the Lord will talk to you. And I began to learn in my storm the voice of the devil and the voice of God, because the devil can come as an angel of light, and but God, he'll be there, just still small voice. But sometimes, if you're not really thinking, the devil's going to come in and he's going to override it, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But then, if you actually dwell on that thought and take it in, it's going to be a disaster. when I was going through my storm, my trial, Mom found like all these attributes of the devil's voice and God's voice. And I want to read them to you. The devil's voice confuses. God's voice stills. The devil's voice condemns. God's leads. The devil's voice demands. God's voice reassures. The devil's voice rushes. God's voice enlightens. The devil's voice pushes. God's voice encourages. The devil's voice frightens. God's voice comforts. The devil's voice discourages. And God, he'll calm you and encourage you. The devil's voice worries and obsesses you. But God, he'll convict you and calm you and give you what you need. And if you're going through something, don't let the devil get the upper hand, okay? But he'll bring a thought to you, and you think, oh, okay. Or maybe a temptation, okay? And as soon as you start dwelling on it, you open that door just a bit, and he'll put his foot in. Just like that. And if you keep dwelling and thinking on a thought, he's just going to pull the door and walk right on in. Easy as that. Ephesians 4:27. 27. And it says in there, neither give place to the devil. So straight right there, neither give place, because if he's going to have the upper hand, and it's going to be a lot harder to get him out. But it's a lot easier to keep him out than to get him out. God is not the author of confusion, as I just said. A very common verse, I'm sure we all know it, 1 Corinthians 4:33. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace and a sound mind. I brought that up this morning. We also, when we go through something, and just in our everyday lives, we need to submit to him. Let's go to James 4:7. James 4:7. Really common verse. Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. As we just saw in Ephesians, don't give place to him. Resist him fully and give your all to God. Brother Matt's been give our all to God. If we don't give any of this thing, the devil, it's already a cracked door. Swing open that door, bring all things in. Also, submitting ourselves to God is letting God lead. Now, most people kind of think, God, he's like you hear a lot, God's right next to you. He's right next to you all the time. But if you're truly in God's will, and you're truly following him, and you're doing what he says, he's not going to be right here. He's going to be right here, holding your hand and leading you. Not standing with you, like talking like, okay, this is... No, he's going to take you and show you the things you need to do. And as I stated too, we mustn't let the devil take away our freedom. And let's go to John 10:10. So Matt, he's been on this verse a lot, but kind of want to bring something out about it. John 10:10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, to kill, and destroy. Now, I was going to stop right there, and I'm going to read it again. The thief, the devil, cometh not but for your freedom and to kill you and destroy your life. That's all he's come to do. And also, when you're going through your struggles, when you're going through just plain life, God, he's always there. Also remember, the devil is always there, but if we fully submit to him, God's going to be leading us, as I just said. The devil, we're going to leave the devil far behind. Brother Matt also brought this verse out, 1 Corinthians 10:13. We don't need to go there, but just he can give you the temptation that you won't be able to bear. He's going to give you a way of escape. I went to this verse a lot when I was struggling with all the temptations, trials, how I went through, and it helped me a lot. Remember, the storm always ends, and he will always reward you for your perseverance. Also, so another aspect, don't worry, and especially about tomorrow. As that song says, don't worry about tomorrow, for the Lord holds your hand. And let's go to Matthew 6:34. 6:34. And it says there, take therefore no thought for the morrow will take thought for it, the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day. If we're worrying about tomorrow, we're not trusting God. And if we all worry, and it's like there's some good worry, there's some bad worry. Bad worry that makes you obsessed with something, turns your focus away from God, takes your focus away from positive things. That's what you need to stay away from. Worry is, okay, I'm going to, my son makes it home. Things that actually matter, that's a more positive worry. Yeah. Just remember, God is always with you, and he always protects you. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 4 and 8 through 9. Actually, I just came upon this verse just probably about 2 weeks ago, and I really thought it really good to bring out and remember trials of life. It says there, starting in 8, we are troubled, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not taken, cast down, but not destroyed. Let's jump down through 8. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward eternal weight of glory. But the things which are not seen are eternal. So take heart when you're going through struggles. Remember, it might seem just horrible, and you might seem, okay, this is just pathetic. This is horrible. But remember, you're not perplexed, you're not destroyed, and you're not going to be completely finished. You're never going to be completely finished if you're really trusting the Lord, okay? And we have to take this to heart to remember that our light affliction, which are going to make us so much stronger. In closing, always remember, God never gives up on you. You have to give up on God first. He's never going to give up on you. You have to reject him. I gave you this chance, that opportunity. He's going to turn you over to mine. If we're seeking God, just trying to strive forward, even though we're in the toughest and darkest times, after my grown greatly in the Lord, I had only been saved for a year. I had the trust in saved for because of that trust. Now, that's what I was fighting for. I was fighting for that and I hope you can say the same thing. I can tell you where I'm going, and it's heaven.